I know I've talked on several videos about making templates and making tools for yourself, and I've shared some of my templates with you too. But one I haven't shared with you and I've talked a lot about are weekly updates. And I know that sounds kind of boring, but hear me out on this. Weekly updates have actually been one of the most useful templates that I've put together for myself. They are so useful to me. I do them every week on any project that I'm doing, and I've been doing them for years. I originally started developing this weekly update template back, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. I was an engineering manager. I was doing these with my teams. And at that point in time, they kind of sucked and I thought they were boring. And I've changed them over that period into this form that I actually really enjoy writing and I look forward to doing every week. And so I'm going to share those with you today. If you're new here, my name's Kyle. I make videos on game dev 2 times per week here on the channel. So if you want to get more of this kind of stuff, make sure and hit that like and subscribe button down below. I do have a newsletter article about weekly updates as well that will roughly follow how this video is going to go. So if you want to read along with the video too, you're welcome to do that. I'll have the link down in the description. Getting into it, so what's so different about these weekly updates and why do I think they're good for game devs and why am I even talking about this to you? And that's because these at their core help keep me accountable. I have a reminder on my calendar every week that says, hey, go write your weekly update. I also have a reminder in Linear that pokes me and says, hey, go write your weekly updates. And that generally gets me in the habit of doing these. I know every Friday they're coming. I do them at 1 p.m. They're really useful for making me take a step back and look kind of objectively or as objectively as I can at the work I've done over the past week to figure out, am I still on track? Do I need to keep moving forward in the same way? Do I need to change something? Generally, how are things going? You may say it sounds like a devlog, and here's the thing though, it kind of is, but these aren't for anyone else. These are just for me. They're just for me to look at and for me to learn from, me to examine what I'm doing so that I can do it better in the future. Now, of course, you could take these and turn them into anything else you like. I know I've mentioned before, I'm not so hot on making the YouTube video style of devlog that's very stylized, but I think there are other ways you could use them if you wanted to post on socials or something like that. That's a totally different topic from today's video, so we won't talk about it today. Maybe I will at some point. So let's dive in and talk about how I use these weekly updates and what I do. The biggest key for this thing is that these things are simple and they're fast to create. They're simple because there's only 3 headings that you go through in the entire weekly update template. If anyone sees me at any point in time and they ask me what my weekly update template format is, I can really name them off, and that's how easy it is. They are, what did I do last week, what are challenges, and what am I doing next? That's it. That's all I write about. And in each of those sections, I keep it pretty short. It's like 1 to 3 paragraphs most of the time. So these are pretty short documents. It takes me about 30 minutes. It only takes 30 minutes because I have to think more about them, and I try to think more about them and be more retrospective about them. I also go in and I always read my previous week's update before I write a new one, and that helps me see like roughly where was I at last week, which is, again, another thing I suggest you do is to keep track of what you're doing and what you're working on. It helps me get in that mind frame of like, cool, let's step back from the day-to-day work of what you're doing and think about this thing as a whole. I really do look forward to writing these things now, and they do help keep me accountable and help keep me motivated to work on what I'm working on. I post them in a bunch of different places, and one of the places I put them is in my Linear projects, so they're also all bundled there together if I ever happen to use that feature in Linear outside of just posting them. These weekly updates are also a great time to ask yourself, are you actually on track for what you've planned for your project? Are you on track for the milestone that you're working toward? If you want to learn more about milestones, I had another video on that. Are you on track to release your game on the day that you think you want to release it? Having all of that together and thinking about that when you're in the weekly update can help you change your plans as you're going along to hit your schedule or to expand your schedule or to do whatever you think you need to do to make your game the best game it's going to be. I think the reason these really work is that I get more value out of doing them than the amount of time I spend putting them together. And that's a really important thing. If you can find things like that in your own workflow, if you get more value out of doing something than what you put in, that's really cool. Way to go. Let's take a real quick look at what that template looks like, and I'll talk about the headings in there. So as you can see, I have the 3 headings here. You'll notice in here too, these things in italics are just the prompts for each of those sections. They're really useful for me to frame my thinking and to get consistency, update over update, because inevitably whatever I think it should be in an update 3 months from now is different than what I think should be here today. So these italic prompts help me stay organized and help me consistently write on the topic that I wanted to write about originally. I also keep these in Obsidian, and I also keep links to them to link to my previous one and the next one, and that just helps me keep organized and keep everything in a nice linear fashion. What you really write in here doesn't matter a whole lot. What's more important important is your thinking process when you go into it, and any kind of insight that you come across as you're writing these and as you're reading them later. Because that's what's really valuable. It's not this document itself, it's the process of doing it and the process of thinking about it. So if you're tempted to just go have GPT generate one of these for you, you're not really going to get any value out of that, and you're kind of wasting your time. Kind of a different video today. This one's a little more general. You could really apply this to anything outside of gaming, but I think it works really well with game dev. So hopefully you found this useful. If you end up working this into your workflow and using this kind of thing, please let me know about it. Let me know how it's going for you. Look forward to seeing you down in the comments. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.